get everyone to look at me for a second? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in a few minutes. Please find your seats and silence your cell phones at this time. The use of cameras and video equipment is permitted throughout the ceremony. However, we ask that you be considerate to other guests and do not obstruct their view. Our ceremony today is being streamed and recorded via Facebook Live. All chat messages will be archived.
Nope, I'm not. For nothing? Yeah.
We got plenty of chairs.
I'll sit with you. I'll sit with you.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good to see you. All right. Oh, yeah. Gotta get my stuff.
Are you doing the
Military office. Uh-huh.
And we still have a few minutes left, so. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. Please find your seats. At this time, please rise for the playing of our national anthem, the invocation, and the cadet creed recited by the MS-1 class. Let us pray. Lord, we come to you this morning humble, and we ask that as these 8 individuals prepare to take the next steps in their Army careers, that you give them the courage and strength to train and lead their formations with honor. And every day as they ask their soldiers to do tough and dangerous things, may they do so fully understanding the costs of what they are asking. For it's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
The Cadet Creed.
The Cadet Creed.
I am an Army Cadet. Soon I will take an oath to become an Army officer.
Committed to defending the values that make this nation great.
Honor is my touchstone. I understand mission first and people always.
I'm the past, the spirit of those warriors who have made the final sacrifice.
I am the present, the scholar and apprentice soldier,
enhancing my skills in the science of warfare and the art of leadership.
But above all, I'm the future warrior leader of the United States Army.
I will do my duty.
May God give you compassion and judgment to lead,
and the gallantry in battle to win.
I will do my duty.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the 2023 Florida Tech Army ROTC Spring Commissioning Ceremony. We would like to extend a special welcome to our distinguished visitors this morning. Florida Tech Interim President, Mr. Robert L. King. The Dean of Psychology and Liberal Arts, Dr. Robert Taylor. Program Executive Officer for Simulation, Training, and Instrumentation, Ms. Karen Saunders. Military Officers Association of America, Cape Canaveral Chapter former President, Colonel Retired Steve Bond. Colonel Retired David Filer. Lieutenant Colonel Retired James Desjardins. Command Sergeant Major Retired Linda Todd. And Sergeant Major Retired Robert Wilson. We have gathered here today to witness the commissioning of 8 outstanding cadets who have chosen to defend our Constitution and way of life, a choice of dedication and sacrifice. They have demonstrated the highest dedication not only to the Army, but also in becoming the best possible leaders they can be. This day marks an important milestone of personal and professional progress, as well as a journey down a new path full of learning experiences. We thank you for joining us on this special occasion. I'd like to briefly recognize the cadre and staff of the Florida Tech ROTC program. Our Administrative Assistant, Ms. Tiffany Dolan, our Recruiting Operations Officer, Mr. Frank McClendon, our Logistics Technician, Mr. Manny Rosales, our Human Resources Assistant, Ms. Dana Washington. I'm Sergeant First Class Michael Johnson, the Military Science Instructor. Our Senior Military Instructor, Master Sergeant Alan Roach, Captain Pat Willis, the Assistant Professor of Military Science, and the Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel James Crook. We are honored to recognize the Interim President of Florida Tech, Mr. Robert L. King. Mr. King has extensive experience in higher education management. In 2000, he was selected to serve as the Chancellor of the State University of New York, SUNY, a 64-campus public university and community college system serving over 415,000 students. In 2009, Mr. King was appointed President of the Kentucky Council for Post-Secondary Education, serving 8 public universities, 16 community and technical colleges, and 20 private and independent institutions. In 2018, he was nominated by the President and confirmed by a bipartisan vote of the U.S. Senate to serve as the Assistant Secretary of Post-Secondary Education in the U.S. Department of Education. Prior to his work in higher education, Mr. King served 3 terms in the New York State Assembly, 1 term as Monroe County Executive, and as New York State Director of the Division of the Budget, the Chief Financial Officer of the State of New York under Governor George Pataki. Since serving as Chancellor of the SUNY system, Mr. King served as Interim President at SUNY Potsdam and as President of the Arizona Community Foundation, responsible for the management of a $500 million endowment supporting education, research, healthcare, and the arts across Arizona. Mr. King has served on the Board of Trustees of Prescott College, a private experiential learning liberal arts institution, and A.T. Still University, a private medical school training doctors of osteopathy, dentists, and healthcare professionals. In addition, Mr. King served on the board of directors and the National Center of Education and Economy, and currently serves on the board of directors of the Association of Governing Boards. Mr. King earned his Bachelor's of Arts degree in 1968 from Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, and his Juris Doctor degree in 1971 from Vanderbilt University School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. King.
Sergeant Johnson, thank you so much. It's way too much time talking about all that stuff. I'm much more interested in talking about all of you. But first I wanted to thank Lieutenant Colonel Crook for his service here and recognize some of our colleagues. Dean of Students Dave McMahon is here, and our Vice President for Communications, Wes Sumner. I'm looking across the audience, and our VP for Enrollment, Brian Ehrlich, is hiding back there. Who else do I see? Shelley Johnson from our Office of Advancement way in the back, and Grace Gamage, our BUDS person. For our students, I want you to understand how much you inspire us. I love being here. It's been a fabulous experience for me, for our guests, moms and dads, and relatives. I've been here on an interim basis. The Board of Trustees has selected a new president who will start in July. But I've had a great opportunity during my year here to do a commissioning in, I think it was in December?
Yes, sir.
Right? And this is my second one, and they never cease to amaze me in terms of the talent and the dedication and the commitment of these students, not just to their studies and to the university, but to our country. I also want to thank Karen Saunders, who you will hear from in a few minutes, who's come over here from Orlando to speak to you. She has had a long and distinguished career in the Army as a commissioned officer and now as a civilian, but still serving our military needs across the country. This business of Reserve Officer Training Program is really all about leadership. All of the science you learn, all of the military activities that will become part and parcel of your daily life for the next several years are all to help you be great leaders. I'm going to take a risk of talking about one of your fellow services, the United States Navy. When I was serving in New York, running the State University system, I had the opportunity to recruit to the university as a campus president a man who was a 3-star admiral who was serving at the time as the superintendent of the Naval Academy. And so our folks had been working with him and trying to get him to come to New York to lead one of our universities. And finally, the day had come that I was sent down to close the deal. And so I flew down to Baltimore, and an officer picked me up at the airport and drove me out to Annapolis. And coincidentally, that day was the first day of class for incoming plebes. These kids were literally 3-4 weeks out of high school. And here they were, their parents were dropping them off, they were being shipped away to get their haircuts and get their work uniforms and all that stuff. And in between all of those activities, I had an opportunity to meet with Admiral Ryan, and he shared with me how special that day happened to be, and it was totally coincidental that I was there on that day. But he said to me, and I've never forgotten this, that everything they do from the second these young midshipmen arrive is about leadership. And everything that you do here, whether it's your regular studies in whatever major you're pursuing, or the work that you're doing to become officers in the United States Army, is really about leadership and how you will serve and how the people you will lead will be dependent on you and your judgment and your values and all that you bring to whatever lay ahead. We are not ignorant at all of the challenges that lie across the globe today. Challenges to our way of life, challenges to the prosperity that this country has enjoyed, challenges to the military leadership that has provided security, not just for our country, but for so many nations across the globe. And that prosperity and that security will largely be on your shoulders, along with those who choose to serve. But it's those of you in leadership that not only make the difference, but make all the difference in terms of how your units perform. Do they do their jobs, their missions? And so what you have chosen to do is something that we honor today, and I can assure you we will honor tomorrow when you walk across the stage at commencement, and something that we will honor throughout your lives, because we appreciate and recognize the sacrifice that you are making and risking to keep us safe and free. And so for that, we are, as I said, inspired by your commitment and dedication. And I'm just here to congratulate you, your parents, your brothers and sisters, and relatives and friends who are here to watch you be commissioned this morning and to celebrate your graduation tomorrow. So thank you very much, and to Lieutenant Colonel Crook, it has been a joy to get to work with you and to see these fabulous young people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. King. The Military Officers Association of America and the Association of the United States Army are valuable partners in our mission to train the Army's future leaders. In honor of their commitment to the United States Army and future service, MOA has presented each commissioning cadet with a commissioning set and an association membership. Colonel Retired Steve Bond will now share a message with our commissionees.
Hey, well, good morning, everyone, and it's great to see so many people out here today to witness this. Honored guests, friends, family, cadets. Thank you for being here today. Again, it's great to be here to share this special ceremony of commissioning 8 new Army Second Lieutenants in the United States Army today. And on behalf of the Military Officers Association of America and our 360,000 active former retired military officers and their spouses, we congratulate them for their accomplishments, and we welcome them to our ranks. For those of you that don't know, the Military Officers Association of America advocates for a strong military and works to ensure that promises made to the military, veterans, and their families are kept. Some of the things that MOA does on your behalf is things like work for military pay raises and work towards ensuring that the health benefits that you're promised are received. The Cape Canaveral chapter here locally does things like present the MOA medals for academic achievement and military merit, and we present a special award for a recognized peer leader in the class, the Bugler Award, that's named after Major General John Cleland, a World War II Korean and Vietnam War paratrooper and former Cape Canaveral chapter president. He was a longtime supporter of the Panther Battalion. And I want to congratulate Cadet Vincent Palermo, this year's MOA medal recipient, and Olivia Troisi, the Cleveland Bugler. The chapter also gave $4,000 to sponsor some of you cadets to go up to Washington, D.C. on the honor flights so that you could experience living history with those veterans as they toured the memorials up there. Who went on one of those tours? Yeah, what a great opportunity. Today's commissioning carries on a tradition that goes back to the medieval knights, and once they completed their training and apprenticeship, they took an oath of allegiance to a lord or king. After doing so, they were recognized by all as leaders, skilled in arms and combat. Today, we recognize these 8 new second lieutenants who have completed the training and initial requirements to become an Army officer and take the oath to the Constitution of the United States of America and swear to defend it against all enemies. Those aren't just words, but an awesome responsibility. For the new lieutenants, my best advice to you is something you've no doubt heard over the course of your training. Always accomplish the mission and take care of the troops. On behalf of the Military Officers Association of America and the Cape Canaveral chapter, we would like to present the new lieutenants with a gold bar commissioning set, as well as membership in MOA National and the Cape Canaveral chapter to mark this special occasion. I brought along with me, just to show our jointness, Captain Steve Kusick, U.S. Navy, retired, who will help me present these to lieutenants. We've got these in alphabetical order, so if you stand when I call your name, Captain Kusick will give you your package. Samuel Addington.
Thank you, sir. Lieutenant. Thank you.
Benjamin Chandra. Second Lieutenant Cruz Mejia. David DaCosta. Jacob Filer. Jake Marzano. Mikey Tabron. And Ethan White. Hey, for the new lieutenants, we wish all of you the very best of luck as you begin your journey as officers in the United States Army. Thank you.
Today's guest speaker is Ms. Karen Saunders, the Program Executive Officer for Simulation Training Instrumentation, or PEO STRI, in Orlando, Florida. PEO STRI executes a multi-billion-dollar testing, training, and threat portfolio annually, and is staffed by more than 1,000 military, government, civilian, and service support contractors. The organization also manages foreign military sales, which support more than 65 countries. From September 2021 to February 2022, Ms. Saunders concurrently served as the senior official performing the duties of the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology. Prior to her current assignment, Ms. Saunders served as the Chief of Staff for the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, responsible for daily management and operation on all matters pertaining to acquisition, contract administration, logistics and material readiness, installations, environment and operational energy, chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons, the acquisition workforce, and the defense industrial base. From 2015 to 2017, Ms. Saunders served as the Department of Defense's Executive Director, Defense Science Board, and as the Program Manager for the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Development Office. In December of 2014, Ms. Saunders culminated a 30-year honorable career in the U.S. Army as a colonel, serving as the Chief of Staff for the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology. Prior to this, she served as the Military Assistant to the Principal Deputy to the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. Prior to serving on the the staff, she was assigned to NATO Training Mission Afghanistan, Combined Security Transition Command Afghanistan, as the Chief Security Cooperation Division, Security Assistance Office. She also served as a senior advisor to the Afghan National Army Ministry of Defense Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics Deputy Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Karen Saunders.
Good morning, everybody. It feels kind of funny having my bio read. Bottom line is I had a great time when I was in the Army. And I continue to have a good time as I continue to serve as a government civilian. I want to thank you all for inviting me today. Mr. King, thank you very much. Lieutenant Colonel Crook, Dean Taylor, Colonel Bond, fellow MI officer, that's great. And then the entire military science department, all the cadets. Thank you all for attending today. Truly an honor, because a couple years ago, and I'm not going to tell you how many, I sat like you all did, waiting to raise my hand and to join a phenomenal organization that has really led me to where I am today. So whether you serve for 4 years or 30 years like I did, this is a changing point in your life where you'll really make a difference in our Army, being able to lead our young men and women. To our family members out in the audience, thank you all for attending, parents and family. This is a very important event for your young officers here, your young cadets. I want to thank you for instilling the notion of serving for a higher cause, because they didn't just get this while they're here in the university. They truly have grown up with it. And then to all the veterans, I know there's a lot of veterans in the audience, thank you for your service to this nation. And then to the cadets, I'm so very excited for you. Many of you may or may not know, but there's only about 1% of Americans that choose to serve in the United States military, and less than that become commissioned officers. So you truly are a unique set of young men. And as was read in my bio, I had the opportunity to serve for 30 years, and I still continue to serve. And it was my choice when I retired to come back and to continue to serve our soldiers in the Army. During my 30 years in uniform, I was extremely proud to be part of an all-volunteer force. And I mention this all-volunteer force because come 1 July of this year, the United States of America will celebrate our 50 years of an all-volunteer force. Our force is extraordinary for its leadership, values, and unmatched capability, and a source of pride for the Americans here in the United States. The strength of our all-volunteer Army is reflected in the quality and professionalism of the force, and that strength and professionalism is also reflected in the cadets today sitting before you. These cadets will help shape tomorrow's Army. In a way, by attending today's ceremony, we are joining the Army and the nation in honoring 50 years of men and women who have made the choice to represent the highest ideals of service and patriotism through military service. So today I want to focus my remarks on 3 specific areas: the Army's competition for talent, recognizing our cadets for their achievements, and finally issuing a challenge to our cadets after they receive their commission. There is an enormous competition in the labor market today, not only in industry but across the Department of Defense and the Department of the Army. Fewer young Americans are choosing military service. For those that do, the military, we really have a hard time retaining them after their initial service commitment. And there's a number of reasons why. Private sector, the economy, the DoD cannot compete with industry with respect to pay. And so this affects us all within the department, and certainly I see it in Orlando with my highly technical force as I'm competing for talent with industry. My organization is constantly on the outlook for looking for STEM talent, and there's a lot of you here today. I might be giving you my card. And I want to thank you for choosing not this institution, Florida Technology Institution, as well as your career fields, because they will serve you well as you go into the military. Our National Defense Strategy is committed to advancing and safeguarding vital U.S. interests, protecting the American people, expanding America's prosperity, and realizing and defending our democratic values. We live in a new era of great power competition, not only by China in the Indo-Pacific region, but also by recent military actions by Russia and Europe. We also have to manage persistent threats from North Korea and Iraq, as well as violent extremist organizations. The need for a strong and purposeful American role in the world has never been greater. The world is becoming more divided and unstable. The basic laws and principles governing relations among nations, including the United Nations Charter and the protection it affords all states from being invaded by their neighbors or having their borders redrawn by force, is under attack. The risk of conflict between major powers is increasing. Democracies and autocracies are engaged in a constant show which system of governance can best deliver for their people. Competition to develop and deploy foundational technologies that will transform our security and economy is intensifying. Global cooperation on shared interests has frayed, even as the need for that cooperation takes on as existential importance. The scale of these changes grows with each passing year, as do the risks of infection. These factors require a joint force that is lethal, resilient, sustainable, survivable, agile, and responsive. The Army is the backbone of this joint force. And we will need a talented officer corps to lead soldiers on the battlefield and in critical mission support functions when conflict arises. Today's group of cadets will serve as these officers. As newly commissioned Army officers, it is important that they know the Army's top 3 priorities are people, readiness, and modernization. And because people are the Army's top priority, I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the demographics and accomplishments of this distinguished group. We have a 50-50 split between those of you that are going to serve active duty, as well as those of you that will continue to serve in the Army Reserve and National Guard. Our National Guard and Army Reserve play a key role in our national defense, and we are a total force. You active duty soldiers will never deploy without a National Guard or Army Reservist by your side. Just remember that. We have a variety of Army career fields represented today. We've got infantry, field artillery, transportation, and medical corps. I think, and then we got 1 engineer. So those are great fields to come into. We not only have graduates from Florida Tech, but also from Eastern Florida State College, right here in Melbourne. 5 of our candidates have completed degrees in advanced STEM, 2 of you in aviation management, and 1 in psychology. So our civil affairs guys will be looking out for you. These are all highly valued degrees. You all definitely did not take an easy route. I wish I had the time to talk about each one of these cadets in detail, but I do want to focus on diversity. As people truly is the #1 priority in the Army, having a diverse group of people coming in to join the Army really makes us a better place. Diversity means much more than just gender and ethnicity. We have cadets, some of you born in the U.S., some of you were not. Some of you have come from Army families who have a service, who have served in the past, and those of you who are the first to serve in the Army. We have cadets who have enlisted as part of the simultaneous membership program, and some of you that are ROTC. We have cadets who are cross-country runners, interned with NASA, served in student government, and cadets who have overcome extreme personal tragedy to get here today. As diverse as they are, they have several things in common, including love of country and a strong desire to lead and to serve. We should be extremely proud of all their academic as well as military training thus far. And now for the challenge. As you probably saw, this past February, the Army launched its latest recruiting campaign slogan. It's the return of a familiar slogan that many have used before: be all you can be. We already have these great cadets ready to raise their hand today, so we don't have to recruit you, but we do need to retain you. And I think that the message still resonates. The Army is an organization of endless possibilities. You can be anything you want to be. You really can be all you can be. Because no other organization comes close to America's Army when it comes to empowering and equipping our people to challenge themselves and achieve excellence. The message is clear. If you want to find purpose, to be belonging to something greater than yourself, if you want to find your calling in life and pursue your passions, there is a place for you in today's Army. You really can be all you can be. In the words of General Mark Milley, our current Joint Chiefs of Staff, an ROTC graduate himself, we are proud of you. You have a difficult and dangerous road ahead, and no one should underestimate it. But you have the opportunity to navigate those dangerous roads ahead and lead our nation's most precious resource, young men and women who don the cloth of this nation, the America's soldier. In conclusion, I would like to share with you one final thought to ponder. Your subordinates will salute you because you are an officer. They will respect you because you are a leader. You need to understand that difference. Listen to your senior NCOs. Listen to your platoon sergeant. And take care of your people. And your people are not only your soldiers, but it's their families as well. This is a total Army. On behalf of Americans everywhere, congratulations on this education, congratulations on your military training, your commissioning today and your graduation tomorrow. And thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this very significant point in your life and your family's lives. Thank you very much. Be all you can be.
At this time, Cadet Tabron will present this honors with a gift from the commissioning class.
On behalf of the commissioners, we'd like to thank you for your remarks.
Thank you very much.
The commissioning ceremony has three distinct portions. The first portion is the oath of office. The oath of office is a solemn affirmation of service recited upon commissioning. The current oath of office has been adapted over the years from the Continental Congress in 1775. A copy of the oath is provided in the program. The second portion of the ceremony is the pinning of rank. Each new lieutenant will have their rank attached by a person or persons of their choice. Prior to World War I, no rank insignia existed for the second lieutenant. The gold bars in use today were first introduced in 1917, adopted from the bars that have been worn by captains and first lieutenants since 1836. The final portion of the ceremony is the exchange of the first salute. Since antiquity, men of arms have rendered some form of saluting as an exchange of greeting. As early as the age of chivalry, knights customarily raised their visors with their right hands, the sword hand, when greeting friendly comrades. This tradition, modified to the salute we use today, continues as a sign of respect from subordinate soldiers to their seniors. A respected non-commissioned officer, warrant officer, or junior enlisted soldier of the newly commissioned officer's choosing renders the salute. This symbolized the willingness of the soldier to follow this officer's leadership even into battle. The new officer then returns the salute, accompanied with a handshake and the traditional gift of a silver dollar coin. This small token symbolizes the appreciation that the officer has for the great responsibility of their commission and in recognition of the priceless sacrifice of the soldier. Cadet Addington, post. Cadet Samuel Addington is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Applied Health Science from Eastern Florida State College. He is commissioning active duty as a second lieutenant in the infantry branch. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Addington by Lieutenant Colonel retired James Desjardins.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Samuel Addington,
Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
having been appointed the officer in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
Will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
That I will well and faithfully
that I will and faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lieutenant Addington's Uncle Stephen and Uncle former Navy Lieutenant Commander Andy Minch will now attach his rank. Second Lieutenant Addington will now receive his first salute. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Second Lieutenant Samuel Addington. Cadet Benjamin Chandra is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Aerospace Engineering. He is commissioning as a second lieutenant in the Florida National Guard as a field artillery officer. He'll be assigned to 2nd Battalion, 116th Field Artillery in Ocala, Florida, following Bullock. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Chandra by Lieutenant Colonel James Crook.
I, Benjamin Chandra, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I take this oath freely, without any mental reservation, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me. So help me God.
Second Lieutenant Chandra's sister Kieran and friend Peter will now attach his rank. Second Lieutenant Chandra will now receive his first salute from former Navy Petty Officer First Class Victor Perez. Cadet Cruz, post. Cadet Brian Cruz Mija is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Aviation Management. He is commissioning active duty as a second lieutenant in the Medical Services Corps. Following Bullock, he'll report to the 10th Mountain Division in Fort Drum, New York. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Cruz by Major Daniel Gill.
I, Brian Cruz,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
to the rank of second lieutenant,
to the rank of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and I will well
and willfully
and willfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lieutenant Cruz's mother, Dionysia, and father, Neptali, will now attach his rank.
It's okay. We got time. We got time. Take your time. All right.
Second Lieutenant Cruz will now receive his first salute from Army Specialist Eli Custer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Second Lieutenant Brian Cruz. Cadet David Acosta is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He is commissioning as a second lieutenant in the Transportation Corps in the Florida National Guard. Upon completion of Bullock, he'll be assigned to the 138th Transportation Company in Miramar, Florida. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Acosta by Lieutenant Colonel James Crook.
I, David Acosta, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
The Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith
and I bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and obey the orders
and I will obey the orders
of the President of the United States
of the President of the United States
and the orders
and the orders
of the officers appointed over me
of the officers appointed over me
according to regulations
according to regulations
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Second Lieutenant Acosta's mother, Maria, and father, Boaz DaCosta, will now pin his ring.
All right.
Second Lieutenant DaCosta will now receive his first salute from former Army Sergeant Dana Washington. Bachelor's of Science in Aeronautical Science. He is commissioning active duty as a second lieutenant in the Transportation Corps. Upon completion of BOLIC, he'll report to the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Filer by his father, Colonel Retired David Filer.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Adam Filer,
Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
And I take this obligation freely,
and I take this obligation freely,
with no mental reservation
with no mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right.
Second Lieutenant Filer's mother, Rachel, and brothers Lieutenant Jonathan Filer and Joshua will now attach his rank.
All right.
Second Lieutenant Filer will now receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Alan Roach. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Second Lieutenant Jacob Filer. Cadet Marzano, toast. Cadet Jake Marzano is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He is commissioning as a second lieutenant in the Engineer Corps in the Massachusetts National Guard. Upon completion of BOLIC, he'll be assigned to the 101st Engineer Battalion in Methuen, Massachusetts. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Marzano by Captain Pat Willis.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jake Marzano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
And I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
So I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lieutenant Marzano's mother, Kristen, and father, Joseph, will now attach his rank. salute from Master Sergeant Alan Roche. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Second Lieutenant Jake Marzano. Cadet Makai Tabron is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Aviation Management. He is commissioning active duty as a second lieutenant in the Transportation Corps. Upon completion of BOLIC, he'll report to the 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson, Colorado. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet Tabron by Army First Lieutenant Marco Vergara.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Makai Tabron,
Having been appointed
an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
and the grade of second lieutenant,
and the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States.
of the United States.
I will bear true faith
I bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
That I will
and that I will,
well and faithfully
discharge
discharge the duties
the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
Second Lieutenant Tabron's mother and father, Valencia and Raymond, and his brother Rayvon will now attach his rank. Second Lieutenant Tabron will now receive his first salute from his friend, Command Sergeant Major retired Linda Todd.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Second Lieutenant Makai Tabron. Cadet Ethan White is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Forensic Psychology. He is commissioning as a second lieutenant in the infantry branch in the Florida National Guard. Upon completion of BOLIC, he'll be assigned to the 124th Infantry Regiment in Sanford, Florida. The oath of office will be administered to Cadet White by Captain Pat Willis.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ethan White,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Second Lieutenant White's mother, Michelle, and father, Jeff, will now attach his rank.
All right.
Second Lieutenant White will now receive his first salute. Lieutenant Chandra, Lieutenant DaCosta, and Lieutenant Marzano. Post. These four lieutenants are commissioning into the Florida and Massachusetts National Guards respectively. Captain Amy Green of the Florida National Guard will now swear them in.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To uphold and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Florida. And to support, or excuse me, and to defend against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. I will obey all orders issued by. The President of the United States. And the Governor of the State of Florida. So help me God. Congratulations.
Our Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Crook, will now share his closing remarks.
President King, Ms. Saunders, Dean Taylor, distinguished guests, family, friends, faculty, staff, and the Army's newest second lieutenants, thanks for being here today to help make this special day even better. These second lieutenants have so much to be proud of. First, earning a bachelor's degree in a discipline that I can't even think about studying: health sciences, aerospace engineering, aviation management, mechanical engineering, aeronautical sciences, and forensic psychology. Pretty well-rounded group of commissionees there. Additionally, each of them have earned a commission in the United States Army, Army Reserves, or National Guard, all of them earning the component of their choice. Throughout their time in ROTC, they were afforded the opportunity to attend internships, earn security clearances, graduate cadet summer training, complete cadet troop leading training, and earn various other foreign and domestic awards. A few years ago, these cadets, now second lieutenants, raised their right hand and swore an oath and signed a contract with the Army. And they reaffirmed that oath today. A few years ago, the country was engaged in multiple combat operations and had been for nearly 2 decades. These lieutenants stood ready to answer the nation's call. Today, although still deployed around the world, the Army has withdrawn its troops from the 2 fronts, and we stand ready for the nation to call once again. I believe these officers are prepared to answer that call. Lieutenant Addington, Lieutenant DaCosta, Lieutenant Tabron, Lieutenant Chandra, Lieutenant Filer, Lieutenant White, Lieutenant Cruz, and Lieutenant Marzano. I'm very proud of each of you today. Your willingness to defend our nation by leading the sons and daughters of America. Thank you for stepping up to serve. It is probably the best decision that you'll ever make. I ask that you lead with empathy, place the mission first, know your soldiers, assess and mitigate risk, and most importantly, make decisions. You are ready. Seize the opportunity. Puma 6 out.
Please stand for the playing of the Army song.
Sing a song, we're the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. flame. Count off a cadence solid strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the newest lieutenants in the United States Army. For those that are attending today's ceremony in person, feel free to congratulate the commissionees at this time. For those attending our ceremony virtually, we invite you to visit our Facebook page, where we will post a video of today's ceremony, and you can offer your congratulatory comments there. This concludes today's ceremony. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.